Good morning. I'm just having some jasmine tea, and I'm getting ready to tell you about how attending Turandot live in HD kind of changed my life. I think we all have a special opera like this, and you can tell me what yours was. I was what we would call an opera tourist. I listened to Saturday broadcasts, kind of, just listening for the hit song. I like the opera quiz because I could learn a little bit through it about this like mysterious world of opera that I knew nothing about. And I made Andrew take me to the Met once because I wanted to go. Say we had been there one time in our life, and I wanted to go to De Valkyra because I was a big mythology enthusiast. So we did that. We went to the gift shop. I was a little disappointed in their offerings, which is how we decided to make opera bracelets. But I still didn't get it, you know? I knew people were passionate about opera, and I really loved creating the bracelets and just basically making something jewelry out of a story. I was in love with that idea. But when it came to how passionate people are about opera, I did not get it. I was just like, these people are nuts. I don't get it. I mean, it's great, but I'm just not feeling what they're feeling. So what I did was, if you're going to have an opera business, you really need to sort of get your act together, learn more. So I started to attend the Met Live in HD screenings at the movie theater. This is a great way to sort of get involved because I think being visual, I was able to connect to it a little better than just listening on the radio. And, obviously subtitles are a big help with that. So I had been to a few Live in HDs before Turandot came around. And my opinion of Turandot before I went was, this is ridiculous. This is going to be ridiculous. So I read through the plot on Wikipedia, and I'm like, this is just this plot has like holes big enough to drive a wagon through, right? The story is dumb. So that was my opinion. And but I'm like, you have to learn. People are crazy about opera. You got to go learn. What's so great about this one. I don't think I had been to any Puccini yet, so that was my first Puccini. And so I go, if there's popcorn, I don't care what it is. I'll be there. So I get my popcorn, my Diet Coke. I'm all ready to watch this ridiculous thing play out. And they're like, okay, well, there's no Sindorma. So, we're all familiar with that. But everybody, every crank person out there is like, oh, well, only Pavarotti can sing Nessun So, like, even that wasn't going to be any good. So I'm just like there for the popcorn. And it starts. And let me tell you, I was drawn in immediately. And it was, people will, you see Turandot and people be like, well, the soprano wasn't great, or that tenor was terrible. No matter who's singing, they will say that. And the real star of Turandot is Puccini and the orchestra. I mean, this was music like I had never experienced music. And in my head, I was like, this is what music was meant to be. Just so majestic, like he was using every part of that orchestra, and it was just, and the story, as ridiculous as it was, just drew me in because I was just like, what's going to happen? Even though I kind of knew what was going to happen, it just really had me captivated. This was Live in HD 2009. I think it was November. And extra poignant because it was Marcello Giordani, who just passed away recently. So that was act one, and I was like sucked into the music. And act two comes along, and I talk about needing to have some popcorn for your opera because the suspense, Puccini weaves that suspense like crazy through that riddle contest. You're on the edge of the seat eating that popcorn, just like a thriller film. So we get through act two, and it gets to the end where he's like, he's going to give her an out, which is very gentlemanly of the guy, right? And, because technically he should be emperor by now. So he's going to give her an out, and he meets her on her own level, which is like in the brain. Like she's like, I'm going to get all these men because they're so stupid. So I'm going to ask these riddles and they're all going to fail. And necessarily advocating for cutting guys' heads off. I mean, just so you need to know, Kaloff is number 27. And she's killed 26 guys before this. But he knows that she's a cerebral kind of girl, so he's going to give her a riddle back. And that was just so magical. And then I'd forgotten about Nessun Dorma, and they have what I call the little Dorma. This is like a really gentle little thing while he proposes this riddle to her. And it's just like that. Again, music should always be like this. It was like weaving a spell, because I was like, oh, I forgot about Nessun Dorma. So that was Act 2. Okay. So, you know, I know I kind of know this thing about how Puccini died in the middle of Act 3, and what's this music at the end really going to be like? And so I don't know. So we come back, and I was like captivated by watching the behind the scenes stuff they show you in Live in HD, where there's like they show you them changing out the sets and stuff, and the sets in Turandot are really fascinating. So that was cool too, because I mean, I can really get into seeing like everything that's happening. Okay, so Act 3, Nessun Dorma. I mean, I thought it was good. Marcello thought it was lovely. But, you know, Nessun Dorma in performance is not the same as Nessun Dorma at a concert. Where at a concert, it's like this big thing, and they hold the note and la, la, la. But, you know, in performance, you're supposed to just get on with the story. And they do. And the whole thing plays out. You know, Liu gets killed, and you're like, how are they letting this happen? How is this a good opera going to have a happy ending when we've got this grieving blind guy who lost his beloved girl who guides him, and she gives her life for the guy who, you know, doesn't love her like that. And it was just so tragic. And then somehow a kiss changes everything. I mean, don't be all of that fairy tale. So the kiss changes everything. I actually did a little research on this, and I guess testosterone can have a hormonal effect. Go figure. So then there's that moment, right, where he tells her his name, and you're like, no, don't do it. So you don't know at that sort of final moment whether she's going to kill him or not. And then this is the magical part. Franco Alfano, after a few edits by Toscanini, creates this finale stitched up of Puccini's music. And this is my main complaint about Verdi. Verdi will have like one hit song and you never hear from it again. But now in Turandot, the Nessun Dorma theme and the throne room themes, they run through it. So it feels like one cohesive piece of artwork. So she's got his name. He doesn't know what's going to happen. They get to the throne room, and the curtain goes up and the music swells, and you're just like, it's so big inside you. And she loves him. Go figure. Spoilers. And he's not going to die, and he becomes Emperor of China. But the best part hasn't happened yet. At the end, what you thought was great in Nessun Dorma simply explodes. The explosion of that ending. And so here I am. It's my first time. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know what was happening. And I'm like weeping just because the music was so beautiful. And that was when I understood what all the other opera fanatics were on about. And I call this the opera unlock code, where you go to this, you might have been to operas before, but you didn't get it. And then you finally find the opera that gets you. And for some people, that is their first opera. For other people, it's not. But everybody has one, and everyone has one that's different. So if you want to share what yours is in the comments, you may do so. I'd be fascinated to learn about that. And it's just, whenever it's like, what's your favorite opera? I always give myself two, because I really started with Wagner. So I usually will say Siegfried. But when it comes to the non-Wagner, it's Turandot, because of this like emotional connection that I had with it for the first opera magic, even though the story is ridiculous. And that's my tale of the opera unlock code. So if you haven't had one yet, if you're like, oh, I don't like opera, I like musicals, but not opera, I get them all. Keep trying because it may happen to you. Okay, the opera unlock code. So keep trying. There's an opera out there that's going to connect for you. Have a great one.